bills. John, you want to cover that?
Sure.
Okay.
Bills we have this month, the largest one is for the acquisition of 418 Vermilion Street. That's the Dick's Barber Shop property. So that is under our possession right now. Again, with that property, we are holding the property with a 2-year lease so that the former owner can continue to lease out the property to the barber shop and to the residential unit. So we don't expect to see too much change in there. The maintenance obligations would still remain with him. The other larger bill we have in there deals with the confluence. This is part of a vapor intrusion system contract that we executed probably about 4 years ago. Vapor intrusion mitigation is essentially venting out actively the soil vapor from the ground, which is a contaminant, through an active system within the property. So early on in the project, we put a lot of the infrastructure in, but it really needs to coordinate with the HVAC system that Confluence is doing. So now that Confluence is further along on the project, we were able to execute the later part of that contract, which is the coordination of the system. So that's that one. Some surveying work on 418 Vermilion, and then a few other bills that we have there as well. So I can stand for any questions.
Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Johnson.
Just because you never get asked this. Any more bills expected on Confluence, or how close are we?
Pretty close on that one. Here's where we're at right now. We've got, on the vapor intrusion contract, the original contract's about $450,000. We may have another 15 on that possibly at the very end. And then the other one we have is with Stantec, our environmental consultant. They're in the closeout phase of putting together the environmental covenants for this site. So there'll be a few more thousand on that one. So we're getting down there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, good news, good news. All right, if nobody else has questions, we'll go on to the business portion of our meeting. The first item is item A, which is resolution number 2023-07, authorizing individuals as bank signatories, appointment of Secretary Alexander Menke.
Well, thank you, Madam
Yeah.
President and HEDRA members. I'm pleased to present to you tonight Mr. Alex Menke. He is our new Economic Development Coordinator. Alex comes to us via City of Shoreview and via the University of Minnesota and via a mechanical engineering degree. So kind of a little bit different path he took forward here. Alex got a degree from Iowa State Mechanical Engineering, worked in the field for a few years in that, the last one being at Boston Scientific. And then he said, you know what? I don't want to be an engineer anymore. I want to go into this planning and economic development gig. So went back to school to the University of Minnesota, received his master's degree last month on that one, and during that time frame worked the last year and a half at the City of Shoreview, helping them up in planning and economic development. So he has been here now for a little over a week. During that time frame, he's had the opportunity to go out and meet a bunch of folks and drink from the fire hose. So. And I'm already shoving a lot of stuff, good stuff his way. So we want to welcome Alex here today. Alex, anything that you want to say?
Okay, it's working. The light didn't turn on. Hi, nice to see some of you again. Meet you all, and I'm excited to be here. Yeah, as John said, I kind of had a roundabout way of making my way into economic development, but happy to be here and to get to know you all more and work with you all more for the long-term future that I can see.
All right.
Thank you.
So along with Alex's arrival here, I will want to bequeath him the title of secretary so that he can perform that role for us at HEDRA. So I do have a resolution for you tonight, which is a modification of the beginning of the year resolution we typically do. So it has all the appointments on there. We're not changing anything there, but we are substituting Alex Menke in as the secretary. So looking for action on that tonight.
I'll look for a motion on resolution 2023-07.
So moved.
Commissioner Anderson moved. Any second?
Second.
Second by Carter. All in favor of resolution 2023-07 signify by saying yes or yay. Yay.
Okay.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, that one's passed. Well, Alex, you're our new secretary. You got a pen? All right, let's move on to item B. And that's the sale of property to Greg Lowy, am I saying that correct, Greg? Lau, okay. 3,000 Lightbourne Court. John, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Property we're looking at here is a 1-acre property off of Lightbourne Court. When you're looking at the industrial park, this is 31st Street here. Enterprise Avenue, Glendale Heights is over here, and then some of the Simply Secure storage units that we sold property for a couple of years ago. So Mr. Lowe is proposing to acquire the property here for the construction of an automobile repair shop. You may recall that at the last meeting, HEDRA did review conceptually the sale to Mr. Lowe for his business, which would look something like this. He would put a 60 by 80 or 60 by 100 square foot building on the property with parking and look something like this. The building itself would have an imagery of something like this. What we would do with this, as we do with any of our purchase agreements, is with the purchase agreement, we're setting up the parameters for the sale of the property. And so there's certain obligations that Mr. Lowe is going to have to meet and the city is going to have to meet before the sale takes place. So we're looking at an end date that the transfer would take place by December 31st of this year. But prior to that closing, there would be the land use entitlements, the site plan review, and the special use permit for auto repair that would need to be conducted by our planning commission and city council. So he is working on plans to do that. And so once those land use entitlements are set, along with some other obligations within the contract, we would be set to close. The terms of the contract, again, are we have a rate of $2.15 a square foot for land within the Hastings Industrial Park, with 1 acre that nets out to be $93,654. So that is what would be paid for the property here. So what we're looking for tonight is the approval and the adoption of the resolution before you, which would authorize the sale of the property and signature of the purchase agreement. So Mr. Lowe is available tonight if you have any questions for him, and I can stand for any questions as well. Thank you.
And my understanding is we have to open a public hearing first, John?
You're ahead of me. That's true. I forgot about that aspect of it. We do. A little bit of background on the public hearing aspect of it. Anytime that we sell land, we need to a private party, we need to hold a public hearing. So there was an action that the city council did at their last meeting in which they transferred the property from city holdings to HEDRA holdings. The reason behind that is HEDRA does the review of and takes care of the industrial park sales, so thought it best to have them work with the contract on it. But you are right that we do have a public hearing aspect to it, so Madam Chair, if you want to open that public hearing at this time, we can do so.
I will open a public hearing for the sale and purchase of property at 3,000 Lightbourne Court to Greg Lau. Is anybody here to speak at the public hearing? No? Any commissioners have any comments during the public hearing? Okay, then I think I can close the public hearing,
Yeah, we
correct?
close the public hearing, correct, and then we can have discussion among the commissioners.
All right. I'll close the public hearing.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll proceed on to resolution number 2023-08, approving the sale of property and authorizing signature of the purchase agreement. Anything else you want to add, John?
No, not at this time. This has been a challenging property to sell within the park. As we look at our inventory on here, we've got this 1 acre piece and another 1 acre piece on Lightbourne Court, then 2 more lots off of Spiral. So we're getting down there, which is good. And then we obviously have our larger 50-acre site that Rocos is helping us out with.
Yeah. I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I'd just be curious, Mr. Lau, is this a new business, an established business for you, and you're looking for a new location? What?
Yeah, it's a new business.
Okay.
I had some property up in Cottage Grove and a shop I used to just do some automotive stuff out of, but I sold all that. Now living in Hastings, so we can start something new down here.
Thanks, that's great, welcome. Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Lowell, what was the agreement about the discussion of the fenced area and what you were looking at storing to the back side of the property or to the west side in the picture?
Hey, Greg, could you come up here, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's probably the best. Come right up to the. Because I remember there was a discussion about the fence business and what you were.
Yeah, now, at first I was looking just for some RV storage or boat storage back there, but they kind of changed my mind on that a little bit, John. They don't really want storage back there, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. And I remembered you talked a little bit about maybe a landscaper and maybe,
Yeah, so I'll use the first, there'll be 2,400 square feet on the end of the building that I'm going to look to lease out, and then I'll use the rest of the building for the repair business.
okay. Theek you.
That was one question I had too, reading the minutes from the previous. It looked like, there's some encouragement there to maybe take some of that property and do some leasing, so,
Yep.
and that's kind of the direction you're going now.
Yep, 2,400 square feet of it, yep.
Okay, all right, great. Any other questions? Thank you for coming tonight.
Yep, thank
Yep.
you.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion for resolution number 2023-08.
So moved.
Commissioner Johnson?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. All in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay, it's passed. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Greg. All right.
All right. With that, it looks like we're on to the reports and information part of our agenda. The Community Development Annual Report under item A.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'll give a brief recap here of the report that was in your packets here, summarizing some of the activities within the Community Development Department, which includes our economic development activities through HEDRA. I think, as you all know, we've had a very busy year in 2022, which continues through in 23 with a lot of great projects and a lot of things to be proud of here that we've been involved in. Some of those things, short-term within 22, and a few of those things much longer-term that are coming to fruition in 22 and 23. One of the things that we really saw an increase in was the apartment complexes within the city, with current 33 under construction near 33rd Street and Highway 61. That's going to be 200 units there altogether. First 100 units are underway, scheduled for opening up in spring, and then the next 100 units, I believe, may begin this fall as well. Right next door to that, we got a senior apartment of 32 units. They hope to break ground this fall. So a lot of changes down on 33rd Street. This is one in particular that HEDRA has been involved in for quite some time, and it really goes back to even before HEDRA on this one with the HRA. Downtown, we've had this notion of wanting to get rid of things that don't belong within a downtown, whether that be old factories or old lumber yards. And 2006, we came forward, made the decision that UBC Lumber Yard, which had been downtown for some time, could probably operate better elsewhere, and came to an agreement with them to move them out to the industrial park, and they operated for a few years where Cranky Ape is. That provided us the opportunity to have the buildings in the downtown area. Over the last 10 years or so, we've used those properties primarily for storage, for city things. But the vision that we've had over time is that that should become something more than just storage, that should be something that could really generate and be an anchor towards the downtown with development. And we went through a downtown property use study, as you may recall, 2-3 years ago, to put together what we wanted to see down there. And then ultimately we were able to find a developer here to put up Lake Isabel Flats. So taking off one of those buildings and a vacant site, 89-unit apartment building that's under construction right now. Hope that will be completed by fall of this year, and we'll have 90 more people coming in living within the downtown area. This is the largest residential project that we've had in downtown in the history that I know of at this point. This is going to be a significant change. A lot more customers for the businesses, a lot more people to come down and partake in events downtown. Another thing that we got to do that was easier than I had hoped was the Fleet Farm building, the transformation of Target. We all know that when Target left, that was a difficult thing for us to handle, and there was a lot of questions as to what the viability of that site might be. and really what the viability of Hastings might be economically. Fortunately, a tenant was found there, and a tenant was found that took over the whole space, which was really surprising to me. It was a situation that I thought that we would be in a position to have to expend money from HEDRA to prepare the site, either to demolish the building fully or completely, develop infrastructure for another type of development up there. I had on my radar that this was going to be something we would have to devote funds to. And by devoting funds to this project, it would take away from other great things that we are doing. So because we didn't do much on this project doesn't mean that this project is significant, because it provided us the opportunity to have funds to spend elsewhere, and it's a great addition to the east side of town. Residential construction continues, Heritage Ridge development, there's half of the buildings there are occupied, which is great. KFC is finally under construction. That's been something people have been wanting to see for a long time. Therapy Ops down on South Frontage Road is finishing their construction project as well. So when you look at all the things we did last year, so we had 176 units that were constructed, up from 2021, 100 of those multifamily, 33 single family, and then we got a great number of valuation. There is an error at the bottom of this one here where 129 million is not quite. It's 12.9 million when I forgot to fix. But 12.9 is certainly an increase over last year's building. So the curious thing to see here is, yeah, there's new construction on there. That's great to see. But when you look at the commercial industrial remodeling that's occurred, that's a sign that people are investing in their properties, and a healthy sign for the economy in Hastings. So that is a great thing to see with the numbers going in there. With the housing permits, this is kind of a chart that shows where they have gone over time here. You can see in 2022, when you look back 15 years, this was our busiest year with a lot of the apartment complexes that have been occupied. With the lot inventory, we still have lots available out there. We've got about 311 single-family lots and a few townhome lots. The townhome market's interesting. We haven't seen anything occur, new construction on that, for about 10, 15 years. However, with the initial discussions that I have with potential developers, there seems to be a market for that, and we hope to see more of that coming forward based upon these conversations. And with the apartment units, yeah, we got 460 apartments, units, and or properties zoned and ready to go to build apartments. So we've got a good number there as well. We had our facade improvement program that we instituted last year. We saw $44,000 distributed to 10 projects, additional $75,000 new investments. So here's a picture of one of the downtown buildings here, before and after, but this has really been a popular program, and we've already continued that going forward to this year with more investments in the facades. That one's a little bit out of order. We have the revolving loan fund for Spiral. We were out there on a visit the other day. They're doing well, so we're able to provide $70,000 in loan assistance to them. Also, with that project, Open to Business assisted as well. So Open to Business continues on providing that great one-on-one entrepreneur counseling as well as gap loan financing, and they will be continuing to provide that service. And of course, we got the Confluence. 14 years old, 14 years in the making, a lot of dips and turns and things that were not expected. But we're within maybe a month away from this thing opening up and providing the impact that we always wanted to see. The reason why we came into this project to begin with, the reason why we stuck with this project for as many years as we did. So looking very forward to that opening up, and looking even more forward to the impact that that's going to have within the downtown area, as well as other potential developments in the future. So, and also within our industrial park, we've been working with Rocco's on the 50-acre site. We've had some good feedback from them on people that are showing interest. We hope to turn that interest into something that's more tangible here in the near future. And then we have our Makers Market, which I'll put a plug in, is happening right now. So you can go down to the riverfront, enjoy a concert. That goes on four Thursdays this summer in conjunction with the concert series. The amount of vendors that we've had this year has been up since last year. I think the most that we had at a single event last year may have been 16. We have 20 tonight. We've got 30 coming up at the next event. And so it's going well down there. And our community development intern, Maddie Swanson's really taken the lead on that and really molding that and managing that well this summer. So that's what I've got for you for a report, and I can stand for any questions.
Well, first off, I want to say great annual report. It was very detailed and informative, so I was really impressed with that as well, so kudos to you on that. And just looking at everything, I mean, I've been a resident here for about 6 years, and so much has transpired. I mean, we're really rocking and rolling right now, so I'm just really proud to be a resident here. So I'm just impressed with everything that's been going on. It's a lot in the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I'm particularly gratified by the increase in the apartment units. I know for years that was always on my radar screen. I heard from the community for years there just wasn't an apartment building going up, and it was just a real identified need. And I think it'll continue to be a need in the future. Not everybody's going to buy, we know that, and people buy in different stages of their life. So I'm really happy that that is taking place. And then I have one question, John. It may be that I don't recall, or it's been discussed before, but under the bullets supporting the community, there's a special services district, and it says, worked with downtown businesses to evaluate, the establishment of a special services district for enhanced downtown services. Can you tell me about that? I just don't,
Sure.
I don't have that recollection.
Yeah, a little background on special service districts. A special service district is almost kind of like an association you might have for a townhome. But what it does is it provides enhanced services for a particular geographic area. So many downtown areas or commercial corridors will institute this upon themselves. It's kind of a private-public thing in which there's taxes that are collected publicly, but they're used very specifically for improvements that will occur within these districts. But the district itself, the individuals, the property owners that live within it must take the lead to establish, and there's a certain parameter for the number of people in which need to vote for them to be taxed and for this to occur. So that's the background of it. What we've been doing here is having those discussions with the downtown, and they've come up with some ideas of things that would be included within that district, and working with different property owners down there to see if there is enough votes to bring this thing forward to the city council to enact it. So work in progress at this point, but good interest.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. I think we're now on to item B, the development update.
What do we got going on here? Not too much. We talked about the confluence, which is great. We talked about Dick's Barber Shop, which would be great for the future. Hastings Theater, that property was closed, as I think people know. It has been sold to Meridian Real Estate Holdings, LLC. We have not had any contact with that group at this time, unsure of what they may be planning for that facility, so more wait and see on that one. Well, also heard news that Green Mill and Schoolhouse Square will be closing at the end of the month. Did have a discussion with Pat Regan on that one of the owners of the facility. It sounds like they're looking for another restaurant to come in there. It was a situation where they chose not to renew the franchise license in that one. So I think he's looking for a different restaurant concept. So hopefully we'll see something in there very soon. KFC's under construction, which is great. We did have an application come in here for South Oaks 4th Edition, which would be another 33 single-family lots on the south end of the city. So that would provide a more inventory, which will be great. Lake Isabel Flats is well under construction. We, at Planning Commission, approved a couple small additions, one to Regina Assisted Living and another one to Dakota Law Enforcement Addition for some more jail space. So both of those projects will move forward to council on the 26th. United Heroes League is constructing their outdoor refrigerated rink on site, so it's exciting to see things happen there. And we spoke a little bit about therapy ops as well. So things are moving along here.
I'm just curious, on the Dakota County Law Enforcement Edition, where is that going to go? Is that going to go to the north of the building?
Yep, to the north of the building towards 4th Street, correct.
Okay, I'm trying to visualize how much room's there to be doing that. But,
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks. Anybody else have questions on the development update? All right. Let's see, do we have anything else on our agenda? I gotta look at my think that's it.
That's all I have,
Anything
yes.
else for the good of the order by anybody tonight? Okay, with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Commissioner Anderson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Carter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.